What do you want to listen to?
Hindsight bias refers to the tendency to believe after learning an outcome that one would have foreseen it. For example, check out Josiah as he mistakenly listens to Chris's opinion and thinks he would have seen the ending.
I just know they're gonna choose her. I know it. Please, please choose her. Please, please. I need. Please, Petra. Please, I need you. Yeah. She's gonna get.
Yo,
Oh,
dude.
Hey.
Dude, it's not gonna. It's not gonna be that girl.
Oh.
You know, like
Yeah,
it's
totally.
totally not gonna be her. Man.
Yeah, it's not gonna be here.
Nah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.
Unfortunately, Caitlin, I had to send you home. You're gonna get a bachelor out.
The sympathetic nervous system arouses and expands energy. If something alarms or challenges you, your sympathetic nervous system will accelerate your heartbeat, raise your blood pressure, slow your digestion, raise your blood sugar, and cool with perspiration, making you alert and ready for action. Your parasympathetic nervous system will produce the opposite effects, conserving energy as it calms you. The sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems work together to keep us in a steady internal state called homeostasis. It is important to try and get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Sleep deprivation has consequences: difficulty studying, diminished productivity, tendency to make mistakes, irritability, fatigue. A large sleep debt makes you stupid. It can also make you gain weight. Sleep deprivation increases ghrelin. It also decreases metabolic rate and increases cortisol, a stress hormone that stimulates the body to make fat. It can also enhance the limbic brain responses to the mere sight of food and decreases cortical inhibition. Natural selection is the principle that, among the range of inherited trait variations, those contributing to reproduction and survival will most likely be passed on to succeeding generations. The idea, simplified, is this: organisms' varied offspring compete for survival. Certain biological and behavioral variations increase organisms' reproductive and survival chances in their particular environment. Offspring that survive are more likely to pass their genes to ensuing generations. Thus, over time, population characteristics may change. The most heavily researched aspect of parenting has been how and to what extent parents seek to control their children. Investigators have identified 3 parenting styles. The first, authoritarian, are when the parents are coercive. They impose rules and expect obedience.
Hey, Dad.
No.
Authoritative parents are confrontive. They are both demanding and responsive. They exert control by setting rules, but, especially with older children, they encourage open discussion and allow exceptions.
Hey, Dad. Can I go to a party?
Well, son. If you're back at 10:30 and no later, then I guess you can go. But I don't want any misbehavior. And if you do, you're grounded. 3 weeks. No ifs, ands, or buts, or maybes.
Permissive parents are unrestraining. They make few demands and use little punishment. They may be indifferent, unresponsive, or unwilling to set limits.
Hey. Can I go out?
Huh? Yeah. Just go.
Change blindness refers to our failure to notice changes in the environment. Watch this video very, very closely. Did you notice that the hooded man's has a backpack on now? Classical conditioning is a type of learning in which one learns to link 2 or more stimuli and anticipate events. Classical conditioning requires the existence of an uncontrolled stimulus, a UCS, that elicits an unconditioned response, a UCR. UCRs are also known as reflexes. The UCR is usually a physiological response that can reliably be elicited by a UCS. The classical conditioning procedure also requires a conditioned stimulus, a CS, a stimulus of which the subject can be made aware of, but which initially does not cause the UCR, followed by a conditioned response. The same response as the UCR, but eventually in reaction to a different stimulus.
Percocet, Miley Percocet, Percocet, Miley Percocet, Percocet, Miley Percocet, 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 Miley Percocet, Percocet.
Proactive interference occurs when prior learning disrupts your recall of new information. If you buy a new combination lock, your well-rehearsed old combination might interfere with your retrieval of the new one.
Yeah. I know. Yes, I know this is new code to the house. Alright, yeah, I remember. Okay, I got it. Okay. Alright, so it was 4505. No. It was 4905. No. Damn it. Hello? Yeah, it was 4505, right? That was the code to the old house? Oh, you gotta be...
For a spoken language, there are three important building blocks. The first is a phoneme. In language, this is the smallest distinctive sound unit. Next is the morpheme. This is the smallest unit that carries meaning. It may be a word or part of a word, such as a prefix.
Avocado.
The final building block is grammar. In a language, this is the system of rules that enables us to communicate with and understand others. Reliability is the extent to which a test yields consistent results as assessed by the consistency of scores on two halves of the test, on alternative forms of the test, or on retesting. Validity is the extent to which a test measures or predicts what is supposed to. The body uses many different hormones to regulate hunger. For example, ghrelin is a hunger-arousing hormone secreted by an empty stomach. In contrast, there are other appetite hormones that are including leptin, orexin, and PYY. These are the ones that make us full. The general adaptation syndrome is a concept of the body's adaptive response to stress in three phases: alarm, resistance, and exhaustion. In phase 1, you have an alarm reaction, as your sympathetic nervous system is suddenly activated. Your heart rate zooms. Your blood is diverted to your skeletal muscles. You feel the faintness of shock. With your resources mobilized, you are now ready to fight back. During phase 2, resistance, your temperature, blood pressure, and respiration remain high. Your adrenal glands pump hormones into your bloodstream. You are fully engaged, summoning all your resources to meet the challenge. As time passes with no relief from stress, your body's reserves begin to dwindle. You have reached phase 3, exhaustion. With exhaustion, you become more vulnerable to illness or even in extreme cases, collapse and death. The foot in the door phenomenon is the tendency for people who have first agreed to a small request to comply later with a larger request.
Join the shoe club, sir.
Thank you. Good man.
Freud believed that there were three parts to the unconscious. The id operated on the pleasure principle. It seeks to find immediate gratification. The superego is the part of the personality that, according to Freud, represents internalized ideals and provides standards for judgment. The ego, the largely conscious executive part of the personality, is the part that Freud says mediates among the demands of the id and the superego. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a disorder characterized by haunting memories, nightmares, social withdrawal, jumpy anxiety, numbness of feeling, and or insomnia that lingers for 4 weeks or more after a traumatic experience. For a long time, there were believed to be only 2 types of ways to treat psychological disorders. The first was psychotherapy, in which a trained therapist uses psychological techniques to assist someone seeking to overcome difficulties or achieve personal growth. The second, biomedical therapy, offers medications and other biological treatments.